I somehow need to narrow down all of this gear to fit into this one backpack so I can hit the road for a month with a band to make a tour documentary. Let's see how I do. Hello there, my name is Eric. I am a Boston-based cinematographer. Welcome to the channel. Let's start with item number one, the Canon C70 with the 0.71x focal reducer. I want this documentary to have a slightly gritty handheld feel, so that immediately makes packing a lot easier. No tripod, no gimbal. Even if I could somehow smush those two down to fit in one pouch in this backpack, I don't think I would bring them. I really want that flowy, handheld, natural vibe. But one way I will be stabilizing my shots is actually with this crossbody. I originally got this to carry around spare batteries, but then I eventually realized it's a fantastic way to stabilize your camera. Gravity will do all the work, and I can get a way steadier, but yet still natural feeling shot with one hand on my camera than I ever could with two hands manually pressed against my chest. No hands. I'm only planning on bringing two lenses to this shoot. First, the Sigma 24mm 1.4, which I'm filming with right now. And second, Helios 44-2 58mm vintage lens. This is, of course, a manual lens. In order to focus said lens, I will need a follow focus. And in order to connect a follow focus, I will need a cage. There's at least a half dozen or so cages out there from various manufacturers right now for the C70, but I believe the Tilta is the cheapest. And I think that is for a reason. The reason is one that I can live with, and that is that the design takes a long time to get on and off the camera. I tend to leave the cage on unless I'm using a gimbal. And even though I do use my Ronin S quite frequently, I'm happy to spend 3 minutes it takes to assemble this cage in order to save $1,000. This one does require two different tools. Why am I still wearing this? The follow focus is going to attach by rails, so you have to add this guy to the bottom of the cage. And I purchased the absolute smallest rails possible. Come to think of it, these rails could be even shorter. Maybe I'll look online for some like 3-inch rails if that's the thing. And now I can focus this guy. And I'll be bringing one filter, the K&F 1/8 Black Mist, in order to help my Sigma 24 better match the vintagey vibes of the Helios. No flare filters or anything too crazy, but if you're interested in some other filtration options that are a little more unconventional, I'll link a video up there I did recently. That was pretty fun testing all of that. We have the top handle. Shotgun mic is connected to the top handle, and then XLR to mini XLR. I like this one because it's very short. My other ones had so much slack to them. This one does have a little bit of slack, so I just wrap it around the top handle once, and it doesn't get in my way too much. I've been using the original Rode Go for a couple years now, I think, and I love it, but I did want the ability to lob up more than one character at once, so I just picked up the Rode Go 2, which has 2 transmitters and 1 receiver. And I'll still be bringing the older model, which I'm using right now, and essentially having it as an extra battery. Unlike more professional options where you can switch out AA batteries indefinitely, when these ones die, you're kind of out of luck until you charge it, probably overnight. So with the 2 transmitters from this pack and the 1 transmitter from this pack, I'll essentially start every day with 3 charged lavs. So I'm a little stressed about the charging situation, but to help combat that, I picked up 2 extra things. Triple USB-C to single USB cable. I just need to plug in one thing to charge the lavs and not find 3 separate USB outlets. A battery brick. They can all charge while in my bag. Sometimes in corporate videos, I don't mind seeing the lav clip, but for documentaries, I definitely want to hide them, so undercovers will help me do that. Maybe I should get a second pack of these. Oh, and lastly for audio, I will be bringing this old Tascam DR10L, which you can plug a lav into. In a perfect world, I won't have to use this because it's such a nightmare to sync these huge audio files that are multiple hours long with all my footage. But just in case all 3 of my Rodes die, and for whatever reason, if my shotgun mic isn't close enough to get good sound, I will have this guy in the backpack as a failsafe. Now let's take a step away from the camera for a quick second to rule out a big category of gear that I will not be bringing, and that is lighting. This is going to be a cinema verite style film. I will just be a fly on the wall. I briefly considered bringing a bunch of this stuff to the band's rehearsals before the tour to film interviews that are well lit, but I decided it just wasn't gonna cut well with the style of film I was making. Personally, I love lighting interviews, I love playing with light, but it just doesn't serve the story. I know from personal experience when I've made films like this in the past, the best moments always come from asking a question in the moment while a character is performing an action or is just in life, having life happen while they're talking to you, versus a contrived hour-long conversation in front of all of these lights. And if I really feel like I'm missing contextual sound bites in the edit, I could always go back and film interviews after the fact, but I'm not planning to rely on it from the start. One other thing I will not be bringing is a monitor. The C70's touchscreen is really all I need. As you can see, I typically use it as a director's monitor and never as an on-board camera monitor. I really don't want to add bulk to my rig that does not help me capture a better image or sound. If it's just for my user experience, I don't think it's worth it to bring more attention to myself as I'm attempting to capture genuine moments from real people as they happen. Let me grab the boring stuff. Batteries and SD cards. BPA30 that comes with the camera, 2 more off-brand BPA30s, and then 1 third-party BPA60. C70 charger, 3 128 gigabyte V90 SD cards. And then I have my Altoids container filled with old SD cards that are too slow to shoot 4K 422 10-bit, technically, but in my experience, most of these do work fine as long as you're not pushing crazy frame rates. And then to back up all of those SD cards, I will be going on to these 2 hard drives, a 4 terabyte SSD, which I will eventually edit off of. I would love 2 SSDs for speed, but you know, money. So this one will just be the safety copy, which I will probably give to a member of the band to fly home with. So just in case my plane crashes, someone could finish the film in my memory. So I am telling the story of a band, playing a show in a different city every night. It's possible that some onstage moments will be important to the story. So to film concerts, I will need a slightly different rig than the one that I've been honing for offstage shooting. So I'm going to go back to 2 different categories we already talked about, lenses and support, to add 2 more pieces of gear to this kit, specifically for the concerts. Unless I want to fight my way to the front row every night, I'm going to need a telephoto zoom lens. And it would be great to get higher up above other audience members' heads, ideally. So I've been using this monopod for a year or 2, but I just recently decided it was probably worth it for this tour to have a head. So I've only used this head on 1 shoot so far, and honestly, I was pretty disappointed. For one reason. You cannot adjust the tension on the pan and tilt. So the heavier your camera is, basically, the less resistance you have, and there's no way to change that. It was very inexpensive, and it's itty bitty. It's like the smallest tripod head I've ever used. So I guess I'm not too surprised that it has some downsides. Time for our final essentials. Okay. Some microfibers, gotta keep the lenses clean. Gotta have one of these doohickeys. Lens solution as well. Mini XLR to XLR. Should I bring this as a backup in case my Condor Blue one breaks? Yeah, it's probably, might as well. 85 millimeter, definitely don't need this. 11 to 16 millimeter, doesn't fit the vibe. Leatherman, I don't think I can fly with that. 100 millimeter macro, no. Pouch of goodies. My multi-tool that doesn't have a knife on it. I don't think I need an HDMI for anything. No monitor, no Teradek, keeping it simple. Oh, earplugs. And I think that is all she wrote. So this is a terrible looking pack right now, but I'll organize it. Now there's probably enough room left in here to fully break down this camera. The last thing I need to take care of is this pesky monopod. I mean, that's not ideal. It's gonna stick out 2 feet above my head. Do I want to bring a monopod? I already bought the head. Maybe what I could do to make traveling a bit easier, remove the feet, remove the head altogether. Yeah, this is way better. Bungee it here. Yeah, as long as I have room for the rest of it inside. This is a terrible pack. This is a terrible pack. There we go. Follow me on Instagram if you're interested in seeing some behind the scenes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already. And there's also a newsletter in the description. So just in case YouTube goes out of business tomorrow, I can still let you know where I'm uploading videos in that dystopian future. Goodbye.